Yes, it's going to work. Come on, baby. Welcome back, guys. Stream. So tonight we were on Facebook for a little while talking about our eliminate property tax lawsuit package. And I thought we'd maybe talk a little bit about it with you guys. So people don't realize that your property tax is actually initiated by them registering the deed to your property in their office. And when they do that, that starts the zone and code enforcement. It starts the property taxes and starts all that trouble that you guys have to put up with the city telling you when they're on your yard and you can't park your vehicle on your yard. And now the city's attacking the Airbnbs, trying to boss them around, telling them how many people they can have on their property and how many. Man, it's just crazy. The city has no right to be trying to tell people what to do with their property, and all that mess starts with them registering the deed to your property in the county recorder's office. And most people don't realize that there's no law that mandates you have to put your deed in their office. So I like to keep things real simple. If there's no law that mandates that you have to put your deed in the county recorder's office, you should be able to ask for it back, to formally request it back. And the property tax issue is not your problem. That's the way I see it. Nobody wants to challenge them. It's crazy. So my eliminate property tax lawsuit package is on my website, and I have a few people who are using it, and I actually have one lady left me a really nice review on my Google review page about the property tax package, and I called her back a few months later, and she took my call and told me that she couldn't discuss it. She couldn't. She said I can't talk about it anymore. And then she said she loved my service, so I kind of took that. I didn't think about that till a few hours later. It dawned on me that I'm thinking the attorneys forced her to sign a disclosure statement. And we already know when attorneys are forced to settle, they want you to sign that disclosure statement so you ain't telling nobody about it. And now we don't have to, in their line of thinking, they don't have to worry about other people finding out. And I think a lot of times people always want to know how many have you won. Well, they don't think about all that. To win means the judge is going to give you something, and that's not going to happen. The judge is not going to give you anything. So you have to make them want to go sit down. And that's pretty much what our program is all about. So people don't realize that the property tax is there's no law that mandates that you have to put your deed in their office. And so they're charging you property tax with your consent because you have not objected or requested to get your deed back. So I actually got started on this property tax issue not as a way to try to help people learn how to cheat the system or whatever, because that's not what's going on. The system is actually cheating people because the Constitution mandates that it's you can't tax private property. So what they do to get around that is they reclassify your property as residential, commercial, or agricultural, and people don't realize that residential actually means that it is uh, the property of a government official. So it looks like we got a few people watching. Who's here today? So I wonder if Ed's here. Ed, are you here tonight? And Frankie 5 times. I wanted to talk to you today. I was hoping that you would give me a call. I wonder how it's going. Frankie 5 times got her package yesterday, and she's going to review it tonight. So I was wanting to check and see how that's going. Your dad, Grandpa, what's up? What are my thoughts on the Oklahoma Native American ruling? I don't know what ruling you're talking about, buddy. So I'm pretty much stuck in my own little world here most of the time. So what ruling are you referencing? I'm not sure what you're talking about there, buddy. Go ahead and let me know. So people need to be aware that the property tax is initiated by them registering your deed in their office, and we need to start attacking that to get that deed back because people are getting foreclosed on for property tax liens. And that's how I got started on looking into this property tax thing, is because I had like 3 or 4 people in the group that were facing tax lien foreclosures. And the more I started studying that whole thing, the more it became uh, intriguing, and the more it showed that the whole thing that they're doing is illegal. The Constitution does not. The Constitution mandates that there's no direct tax, and direct tax are things when you're being charged on. Direct taxes are when you're being charged for things you already own, and the only taxes that are legal according to the Constitution are indirect taxes, and direct taxes are only charged and are only charged to people if there's an emergency, a war, and then they're proportioned. So everybody pays the same amount. And that's the way the tax system is supposed to be. It's supposed to be apportionated in what every way it is. The poor people are paying more and the rich people are paying less when you base it on your income. So your dead grandpa one, are you talking about a ruling that had to do with property tax? Oh, you guys see my fancy award here that I picked up in Chandler, Arizona for my excellence in foreclosure defense. So your dead grandpa one said they returned half of Oklahoma to the Creek Indian Nation. Oh, no, I didn't know anything about that. I'm kind of stuck in this foreclosure slash property tax slash third party debt collection defense stuff. I don't even watch TV much anymore. Well, that sounds like that was a good deal for somebody, for some nation. So are you facing foreclosure, your dad, grandpa one? So who else is watching tonight? Make yourself known. We're up to 4 bodies. On your grandmother's property, possibly? Huh. So Oklahoma, her property's in Oklahoma? Let me think. Um, Oklahoma judicial or non-judicial? Who else is watching now? We're talking about the property tax situation and what you guys need to do about it if you're tired of paying property tax. But if you're facing foreclosure, you need to handle that first. So my new Lemonade property tax lawsuit package is set up with a notice of claim letter that you would be sending to them. And the notice of claim letter is pretty much the claim, just written up in a letter in a letter format. So you can show them exactly what you're going to be bringing to the table. Natalie Barnes. Hi, Natalie. You live in Virginia. Is Virginia's judicial foreclosures? Are you facing foreclosure, Natalie? Is this your first time on our stream? I think maybe we got a few new people on here tonight. That's great. MYX Capital. Thank you. I'm trying to stay at it. We got to stay busy so we can at least be a half a step ahead of the attorneys. Well, we have what you need, Natalie. If you're in a situation where you need help, I've got my new online course that I put together, and I actually did a video on it the other day, and kind of went behind the scenes so you guys can see what the course looks like inside the course. And I think I'll post it in here so you guys can take a look at it. If I can find it. There we go. Here's the video of a new online course. No, I'm not in a trust. MYX Capital. I don't think anybody's lining up to sue me yet, so. Natalie Barnes says, what are my thoughts on the fact that the bank didn't actually loan us any money? Well, Natalie, my thoughts are what they're doing is illegal, and those are the issues that we address in my lawsuit packages. I'm going to put a link in here to my lawsuit website. You can go there and see. Maybe. So the fact that the banks didn't loan us any money is one of the issues that we cover in the lawsuit package. And I actually have the exact accounting records from the bank that you would need to be requesting that will verify that your loan was always an asset for the bank and never liability. And I think those documents are on, I want to say page 7, but I'm not exactly sure what page they're on in the document. And those are the documents that we tell people to call the bank and harass them about. Call the bank, and I always tell people to make scripts about a little, like a half a page out of the lawsuit document. Call the bank. The first time you might get the attorney, but after that, the gatekeeper is going to send you to the email address or the voicemail, and then you just fill up the voicemail with your questions, the things that you're demanding. And I would be demanding those records that are listed in the bank's accounting records. Even though the bank don't have nothing to do with the lawsuit, I would be directing those banks' accounting records that will verify that your loan was always an asset. And Natalie, I think one of the things that I do that's totally different is to address this fraud and deceit. Is we teach people how to hold the person that actually signed the foreclosure against your property, the person that actually signed the document to start the foreclosure against your property. We teach you how to have that person listed in your wrongful foreclosure / breach of contract lawsuit as the #1 defendant, and the law firm as the second defendant. And people who believe that the lender actually foreclosing on you, those people end up in the back of the line, and most of the time end up packing their stuff, because in the end, the judge is going to throw it out because they know you don't have the right person listed on there, the person that's actually causing you the damage. And if you check your petition that the attorneys served you, you will see that there's only one signature on there, and that is the attorney's signature. And that's why we add the attorney as the #1 defendant to the lawsuit. And that kind of helps take care of that issue. They never really loaned you any money. Now, one of the things in the new online course we're addressing is the fact that the statute that they're using to foreclose on does not have the necessary elements to be considered a valid law. And therefore, it cannot provide jurisdiction to the court. It's missing the 3 elements necessary to be a valid law. Each state constitution mandates that there are 3 things necessary for something to be considered a law. And revised statutes and codes do not have any of those 3 things. So Nellie asks also, we buy back our land, bank savings will own full bundle and sticks. And actually, we are only tenants. Well, that's true. But you can be a tenant that has control of the deed to your property, so you don't have to pay property tax if you want to go that route. So MXY Capital, the trust is ultimate. You should powwow sometime, guy. Your knowledge together, decades of deceptive matrix. I don't do the trust. I haven't incorporated my business or I worried about any of that, because I found out a few years back that attorneys you cannot go, a corporation cannot go into court and represent itself. So with that being said, if I can't represent myself in court, then yeah, y'all, all you people who use attorneys, y'all know what I'm talking about. Went into court with an attorney, I'd be done. So I'm not interested in any of that stuff right now. And some people do land trusts, some people do land patents. Natalie's asking, she said she wants her land patent. And I heard that's a good way to, but if you're facing foreclosure already, you kind of got to be doing some other stuff right now because you don't have time to do the land patent thing and do all that and have all that paperwork come back. But, you know, it's a good idea after you get them out of your face. So yeah, I have a lot of people wanting to powwow with me sometime. And you know, if I have time and people call, I try and talk to them, but it's taken me a long time to put this program together and provide value that people can afford. And so I'm just now getting that, and I'm going to just stick with what's working. You know, it's easier for me to do what I do because I don't have to worry about, you know, the government putting pressure on other people to tell lies. And that's pretty much what they do. They use other people and back them in the corner and get them to lie on people and do all this other stuff. So I don't have to worry about all that. Just working by myself, and I'm doing what I love. I love helping people learn how to kick attorneys' butts. Um, if I can share anything or help someone along the way, I've got no problem doing that. But you know, I don't want to team up with anybody or anything like that because I'm doing my own thing here and I'm still figuring it out as I go. And I used our private Facebook page. Actually, that page has been priceless. Strategies and what documents we need to change or add to the lawsuit packages to make them go sit down. So I get real time feedback from group members from, you know, California all the way to New York, Georgia, Florida, all over the place. And that real time feedback allows me to make changes right now that make a huge difference. And you know, if you're operating that way, where you're knocking down their defenses and screwing that door shut so they can't use them again, pretty soon you're going to have the program set up. And I think that's about where we're at now. Our new online course that we put together will be featuring the brand new jurisdictional challenge with an affidavit package. And I have a few members in the Facebook group that have been using that package to stop stuff. We're going to be using that in the new online course. And as soon as the course gets students enrolled, that package will no longer be available to the public. And it's not posted on my website. So, and that's the jurisdictional challenge with an affidavit. A few people in our Facebook page have used it to get things stopped. And one girl, Shamel Maxwell, used it to block the sale of her dad's house. Her dad they were supposed to sell his house last month on the 6th, I think, and he's still in his house. So we got people still. My goal is to provide you with a guide, a path, opportunity to get in court with a strategy to block the eviction process. The winning part's going to be up to you to handle all the stuff, because I'm not an attorney. I don't go to court with people. I don't read all your documents and all that stuff. That's all up to you. Hi, Joyce. Good to see you. And you're right. They have no jurisdiction over a living man or woman. And that once you reclaim your state citizenship, you can actually use that reclaim of your state citizenship in your favor. So how are things going with you, Joyce? Joyce invested in the program a little while ago, and she got all of her stuff filed. Hey, John, welcome. Does the Okay, so the jurisdictional challenge with an affidavit, you have to say the whole title because I have other challenges of jurisdiction and other stuff. And if you don't say the whole title, I'm not going to be sure what you're talking about and I won't be able to answer your question, John. So are you talking about the jurisdictional challenge with an affidavit? Does it supersede any actions by the attorney? Um, do you piece So they're not bothering you. They're out of your face, Joyce. Does the jurisdictional challenge supersede any previous actions by the attorney? So have you read anything about the jurisdictional challenge, John? John K? So the answer to your question is absolutely, because the jurisdictional challenge addresses the fact that the statute they're using does not have the necessary elements to be considered a valid law. And it also addresses the fact that there are 6 things missing out of the contract they filed in court. These 6 things you're claiming are on the original contract, and those 6 things are missing. Now, the documents that we file that the online course students are going to be using are super documents, so to speak, and they're being redone. They're not the same documents that people are using in the online course. So, or not the same documents people are using from the website. So if you hear me talk about the difference or something, that's what I'm talking about. So the online course costs a little more for all the guidance and the videos. So we had to step up and make sure that we're providing additional value to compensate for the premium price that we're charging. Joyce says she's still in the battle and it's coming to a close. So Nellie says they need your permission. So so when you say they, Natalie, who are you referring to? So I need to make sure I understand. Well, good, Joyce. I'm glad you're still in there, hanging in there. So Joyce, you did you get a copy of their banker's secret manual? I don't think you got a copy of that. That's something new that we're handing out. So in that manual, it goes over a couple of ways that you should not discharge your debt, but not discharge the mortgage, but how you should handle it. One of the things that we're arguing in the new online course is that one of the 6 things that's missing off of the contract that they filed for that contract is the fact that you agreed with the bank that the bank would pay you for the promissory note since it was generated with your signature. And there are a couple of other things like that that you agreed to and you're saying are missing from the contract that they filed in court. So in effect, you're saying the contract they filed in court is forged, it was stolen, and some of the things are missing off of the contract that they filed in court, and that puts them behind. That puts them in the corner, because now for them to say that you're wrong, they have to produce the original promissory note, and we already know they don't have it. Okay, cool. So it's just she's aware of all that. So Natalie, what is winning to you? Because in a conventional program, winning is when the judge grants you everything. In a non-conventional program, winning means something totally different. And to me, a non-conventional program, winning is getting to stay in your house, because that's the goal. Not to get the judge to rule on anything and grant you crap, because that ain't gonna happen. The goal is to get to stay in your house. And in my opinion, if you're getting to stay in your house, you're winning. You have to understand, we have the conventional and you have the non-conventional. And in the conventional program, it was structured by the same attorneys that's trying to kick you out into the street and steal your property. And the main reason why attorneys don't help anybody is because the attorney is actually the person that's coming after your property. So no other attorneys are going to get in that attorney's way. That's not the way they do things. I, people take a look at that. If you're in judicial foreclosure, you can take a look at that petition and you can see it's signed by one person. There ain't nobody from the bank up in there. It's the attorney. Thank you, Joyce. Joyce said, amen. So Natalie, the judge is not going to grant you anything. So what you want to do is you want to make sure the judge don't want you in court, and neither does the attorney. And that's why you want to call and harass them, and you ask them for stuff. And you want to ask them for the documents, the accounting records that will verify that the loan was always an asset for the bank. You want to ask them for their FAR registration. FAR is FARA. It stands for Foreign Registration Statement, Foreign Registration Act. They're supposed to have a Foreign Registration Act statement, and all the paperwork pertaining to that available for people to view. And in that Foreign Registration Act paperwork, they're supposed to have who they work for, how much they made, all of this. Yeah, and there's actually a national attorney general that's supposed to oversee this stuff. And the attorneys never have any of that stuff. So I always ask them, I call them and tell them, hey, I want to make an appointment to come down and check out your Foreign Registration Act paperwork so I can make sure that you guys are legal and up to date, because they enacted into federal law. And that's a problem. If they don't have this stuff, of course, the judge is going to try and ignore it and all that. But what you want to do is you want to use it to challenge jurisdiction. Because if the attorney is not legal before the court, then the court can't act on anything the attorney's saying. And the attorney can't testify on, and they don't have a witness. That's the number one problem with the judicial foreclosures. They don't have a witness to provide jurisdiction to the court. And so you want to use all of those defects to challenge the court's jurisdiction, not the banking side of things. Because if you go in arguing the banking side of stuff, they're just going to laugh at you and then kick you to the curb. And the number one problem that most people make when they're fighting in foreclosure is they don't have the person that signed to start the foreclosure against their property. They don't have that person listed on their lawsuit any place. And that person is the attorney. Natalie says, it isn't also true the bank doesn't sign the contract and 2 signatures are required, the lender and the homeowner. Yes, that is very true. The bank never, well, the bank, a bank official does sign, but they sign after the deal's all done. And they stamp pay to the order of on it, and then it says pay to the order without recourse and some other stuff. And then they process it through the Federal Reserve for the electronic credits that they're claiming is the loan that they loaned you. So that bank president, usually it's the bank president or somebody that signed their name on that pay to the order of, that's the person who got your money. But we don't want to go into court arguing that stuff, because now you're arguing, no, the attorney cannot testify. And that's why most people should object when you go to court. As soon as the attorney opens their mouth, you want to object. The attorney cannot testify. It's considered third-party hearsay information because the attorney was not there. They get away with it all the time because of the way they do things, and people don't know. The attorney can't testify. The attorney can't verify agency. The attorney don't have a power of attorney. The attorney has no way to prove that the bank actually hired them. In actuality, the attorney is collecting illegally, acting as a third-party debt collector. And that's what we stick in their face in the lawsuit. And that's a problem for them, because and make the attorney the number one defendant on your lawsuit that you're going to file in higher court, in federal court. Now the attorney is going to have to hire someone to represent them, and they have a hard time finding someone, because when the new attorney finds out that this foreclosure attorney is being sued for collecting unlawfully as a third-party debt collector, then nobody wants to help them. And that's kind of what we do. You want to separate them and make them all go sit the hell down. How you say you want to force them to visualize the shared liability. So Natalie says, so who has a claim against you? No claim, no case. Well, that would be, Natalie, that would be perfect if they followed the law and the rules, but that's not the way it goes. So you have to remember, in the conventional foreclosure program, the attorneys are the ones that structured it, and it's structured for them. It's not structured to help you or me. It's structured for them. So you have to stay on the non-conventional side of things to have any kind of a chance. And you're absolutely right. If there's no claimant, and there's no case, but that's not the way they do it. And most people don't know how to hold that up in court when they get before the judge. Sometimes when you're in court before the judge, you have to speak louder than you have to speak loud, so you can make more noise than your knees shaking and rattling together. And Joyce says, yes, Natalie, and no meeting of the minds and all fraud, because they're robbing your trust and the bond, trespassing on your property. So actually, you're almost right on that, Joyce, but it never makes it into the trust. The promissory note never makes it into the trust. And that makes the whole process even more illegal. The promissory note never makes it into the trust. That's in my opinion, based off of the way the process goes. Once the securitization process is done, and not only that's just the way they do things, but they overlook all that because we don't know. But we're learning now. Well, that's interesting, Joyce. I didn't know that if you come in as a live person, you can use a trespass. Well, what I like to do is use whatever. One guy told me one day that I think outside the box. I'm thinking, no, I don't like to have a box. People need to remember they're the ones that started this mess against you. So they're the ones that have to prove stuff. Yep, they're all capital names. And that's why, George, you're right. And that's why reclaim your state citizenship is so important. I have a friend of mine that's facing a judicial foreclosure, and we put together the state citizenship document and attached it to the foreclosure. She got her new passport, and we attached it as an exhibit to verify that she is a state citizen of the Republic State of Kansas, and so the court don't have statutory jurisdiction over you without injured party. And that's why the state citizenship is so important, because once you complete that process and you can verify that you are a state citizen of the Republic State you're born in, then the corporation does not, and the court does not have statutory jurisdiction over you without an injured party. So it's almost like figuring out in common law court. So John asks, is the note and the name of the property owner? Is the note in the name of the property owner? Most of the time it is. It should be. I'm not sure, John K. I'm not sure. Yes, the note is usually in the name of the property owner. Natalie says, I didn't know about the practice of conversion of my name until my second loan. I believe that it should be criminal in itself. So what do you mean conversion, Natalie? I'm not sure what you mean about the conversion, but anything the attorneys are doing is, it should be criminal pretty much. It's good to see you, Joyce. I'm glad you're still in the fight, young lady. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, the straw man. Yeah, that's what they like to drag into court. And the reason they do that is because they're not allowed to harm a live human being. And that's what Joyce was talking about earlier. No, there's not, you're not the conversion of all class names. Hey, Frankie. Frankie 5 times. Welcome. Yep, you're right, Joyce. You're a living woman or a living man. You can't be a living person because a person is the government, is the federal government person thing. Yeah, you missed some good stuff, but we got time to catch up, Frankie. Did you have a chance to review your packet that you got? Yeah, they're trying to use your fiction name, Joyce, but you see, when you add the attorney to the lawsuit, they kind of forget about all that stuff because they're a little busy trying to figure out how to put the fire out on their butt. Nice, Frankie. I'm going to leave a link to my Google reviews so you guys that got the documents and that looked at them can leave me a review. And it would be nice if you guys mentioned the document that you got and a little bit about it, so people will know that my service is real and I don't play around. Oh, there it is. Google review. And it'll give you guys the opportunity to check out my reviews if you have not looked at them. They're pretty spectacular. I'm very proud of each and every one of them. Thank you, Joyce. She says, great job, guy. Great work. Thank you. I really enjoy what I'm doing. And you guys have to remember, if you invest in my program, if you call me with questions, apparently I have a problem if you tell me that you're asking me these questions because your attorney friends told you something different than what I'm telling you. Okay. Apparently I have a problem with that. I'm trying to work with it, but it's still a problem. I had a guy call and ask me questions. And then when he told me he was asking me this because a couple of his attorney friends said something, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I was about ready to take that whistle and blow it right in his face. You get on the line, buddy. But I handle it a little bit good. But if you have questions, you should call and ask me. If you tell me you're asking me this question because your attorney friend said that what I was saying was crazy, then I'm going to be a little grumpy because the way I see it, you're either in or you're out. You can't be both. You can't do the conventional with the non-conventional because the conventional gets poopy stink smell all over the non-conventional part of things. So you can't mix the two. And you got to remember, the attorneys, they love to argue. They like to do things in a way to argue. And then once the arguing is done, the judge gets to help them. That's just the way their system is structured. Okay, Natalie, thank you for stopping in. You have a nice rest of your evening. It's about time for me to go to bed too, because it's a little after 12 here. And Joyce says attorneys are liars and thieves. So Joyce, you know how to tell when an attorney's lying, right? You have to check to make sure their mouth is moving. When their mouth is moving, they're lying. John, what did someone did what to you today? The court. Well, well, actually, Joyce, you're almost right. But if you're in my program, then you're bringing some truth and fact to court. But you're right. In the conventional program, no truth and fact about the court. In the non-conventional program, you're killing it. CA Dave and David, huh? Are you new to the group, CA Dave? David? You can call me tomorrow after lunch, anytime. I'm not an early in the morning person, as you can see, because I stay out late at night and I get to doing things and I lose track of what time it is. And next thing I know, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. But you can call me anytime tomorrow after lunch. I would prefer that you go to my website. I'm going to put a link in here and scroll down and review the questions and answers section and the disclaimer and take a look at everything. So when you call me, we can be talking about a strategy for you going forward. And I have it set up that way so I don't have to start from square one and explain all of the things that are in the questions and answers section that most people ask. So if you ask me any questions that's in the question and answer section, I'm going to refer you to the questions and answer section so you can go and educate. Okay, I'll stop being a coach at least until you enroll. But I want people to do the homework. Oh, you purchased the program? Okay, well, if you reviewed the lawsuit document, I usually ask people to review the $5.5 million lawsuit document and and highlight the areas that you have questions on, and then we can get on the phone and go over all the questions at one time, which that is like the most efficient use of our time. And that way you don't have to like do part of it and have to redo it and anything like that. So when did you purchase the program, CA David? Oh, John K said the attorneys tried to give him some legal advice and it was contrary to what I said. So I told him they don't know what they're talking about. No, actually, they do. They know what they're talking about. They're lying. But you're right. They know what they're talking about, but they're acting like they don't know what they're talking about. And if they think they can pull the wool over your face, then they will. I had a lady tell me one day, she's, you bought it on July 6th? Huh, okay. So, well, just, you can call me tomorrow, CA David. You can call me anytime after lunch, after 12 or 1 o'clock Central Time. That'd be a good time because then my brain has started to work and I've eaten lunch, which helps, the food helps my brain work. And then I can think and then answer your questions. So I'm anxious to know did you have questions about the package or that's kind of in July 6th. Did you actually get it filed? CA David, did you actually file the documents? Where are you at in the process? Joyce, Joyce says the only difference between a thief and an attorney is attorney has a briefcase. And I think Joyce, the thief probably has more of a conscience than the attorney. So I'm gonna throw that in there. Man, I like this. It's really cool to be able to talk to people. I've been trying to get this live stream things figured out for a while. And no, we haven't started yet, CA David. Good night, Joyce. God bless you too. Hmm. That's a long time to not have started. I had another lady that had the package and she had it maybe 3 or 4 weeks and she hasn't done anything yet. And then she called me yesterday having a panic attack because they just served her the unlawful detainer paperwork. And and but that's another thing about me. If you get something in from the court or the attorneys and you're freaked out about it, don't call me until you figure out what's going on, until you get yourself settled down. Because everything they're doing is fraud. And if you read, you would know that anything they say is bullshit. I'm just saying, okay, it's crap. And sometimes when people get all freaked out and call me on max, I didn't even want to hear it. Okay. In her case, she hadn't done any of the things that she should have been doing. And I don't know why, and I don't care. As a coach, we don't want to hear those excuses. As a coach, you got to figure out a way to get it done. And if you plan on backing these fools in the corner, you're going to have to be on top of your game, and you're going to have to be willing to do whatever it takes. A little bit mean to her. I asked her, did you get your paperwork? No. And I said, well, I don't have anything to say if you haven't got the paperwork filed because there's nothing I can do. I can give you the tools and I can, but if you don't do your part, there's nothing for me to talk about. And I don't have time to be on the phone reinforcing someone that this is going to work, this is going to work, this is going to work, and you haven't done your part. So I'm a coach, and when it gets down to it, that's what I do. And I try not to be rude or mean. I had a lady tell me one day, uh, I wish you were my neighbor. And I said, no, you don't. She says, yes, I do. I wish you were my neighbor. I said, no, you don't. Because if I was your neighbor, I would have to walk across the grass over there and get in your face because you're taking too long. Uh, so at the end of our conversation, I think maybe she was thinking maybe she's glad that I'm not her neighbor. I don't know. But you don't want me to be your neighbor if you're not doing your part because I don't have a problem. Oh, Frankie said she hit the like button. Oh, so I posted a link in the review. So I would appreciate it if you could do that since you've had a chance to take a look at the documents. I think I posted it. Maybe I didn't post it. I don't know. There. Now I posted it. She hit the like button 5 times. I'm glad you like it. Just wait till you see the documents in the package that you get to use to get up in the attorney's face. And you'll be able to control that's one of the things about my package. My package has a strategy to block the eviction process and to remove the eviction process from eviction court over to federal court to be connected with your title dispute. Closures. That's really a plus. And that's why we did that, because in non-judicial foreclosure, their attorneys were getting the federal court stall while they were trying to perfect the eviction process on the back half. So we had to go in and figure out a way to block that. And the way we blocked it is eviction court only has jurisdiction to hear immediate possession, and they cannot make a determination on the title dispute. So we created the title dispute in federal court, in a higher court, and then we used that higher court status to control everything in the lower court. And that's why the documents have, that's why the lawsuit package has, for non-judicial, has like 16 documents in it. Now, the same process can be used in judicial foreclosure. If you're facing the eviction process, you can use the same process to block the eviction and remove it over to federal court. Now, for the people who get in the online course, they won't have to worry so much about that, because their first package that you'll be filing will be blowing up the in state court before you file your lawsuit in federal court. And then once you blow that up in state court, then you will attach all of that as an exhibit to your lawsuit. And when you do that, you can show in federal court that the whole process in state court didn't have jurisdiction to handle it, and here's why. You're challenging the foreclosure code, the statute, as not having the elements necessary to be considered a valid law, and you're that the contract that they filed is forged and is missing. It was stolen, it was forged, stolen, and it's missing 6 items that are showing on the original contract. And then those 6 items that you're saying is missing are things like you're telling them that the bank agreed to pay you for the promissory note since it was generated with your signature. And one of the other things that's missing is that the bank agreed that they were going to do your loan according to GAAP, which is the banking rules, the banking laws they're supposed to follow. And they didn't do it according to GAAP. So if they say they did, it's going to be a problem because they didn't. If they say they didn't, it's going to be a problem because of what they did. So that's a nice little thing that you're going to be using to back them in the corner with. Frankie, she's pretty excited. Where else can you get this info? Dropping gems. Yeah. So for me, once I figured out my YouTube channel could be monetized, and a month hosting ads on my site, then everything changed. I already was, trying to figure out how to do this so people can afford it. People like me can afford it. And now, once I get my YouTube channel monetized, I will be able to lower the prices of my of my packages, and I will also be able to hire people to help on the YouTube page to help people answer the questions and stuff um, while while I'm out on my yacht. Okay, so that's my dream, but I don't have it. But they don't let me do anything in it. Okay, so they made me clean it. Okay, I'm kidding. Thank you, Frankie. She says she appreciates my knowledge. Oh wow, she got me 5 more likes. That's outstanding. And Frankie, we need to talk sometime too, so that I can use your professional skills to help me um, with with marketing my service. So we can talk about that sometime in the future. John K says the mortgage broker never gave him the RESPA in the first 3 days. Well, it doesn't matter, John. If you roll with me, then you won't be talking about nothing they did or didn't do. Well, actually, you will, but you won't be talking about nothing you did or didn't do. Yeah, Frankie, I know a lot of people are facing this right now, and that's why I lowered my prices down from 850 to $500 when all this started, because I already know how that's rolling. I had a lady who works in the courthouse in one of these states, and she called me. And we talked for quite a while, and she told me that no one's been allowed in the title company, and no one's been allowed in the courthouse except people from the title company, and people from the title company or the attorneys or whatever in there all the time lining things up. So when the door opens up and they can start smashing people, they can be ready to go. And it's going to be sad because there's a lot of people who are not doing anything. Granted, I know I would like to believe the main reason why people aren't doing anything is because of the funding, the lack of funding. But that's not always the case. Sometimes people aren't doing anything because they're overwhelmed or they feel like they don't have a chance, and I have a thing that I post and it says never let fear decide your fate. And I look at that, and uh, I have another post that I look at all the time. And when you join my online class, when you go to the About Me section, it shows a big giant picture of this person looking at a big giant chalkboard. And in big letters on the chalkboard, it says, dream big and make it happen. Yes, we need to get this information out there. And that's, Frankie, that's what I have been doing. I'm working with Hamilton Radio, and I have a show. I'm doing a show um, every Wednesday at 1 o'clock Central Time. And this Wednesday, we're going to talk about how the city controls these people running Airbnbs and what they can do about it. Basically, it goes back to the property tax situation. Yeah, Frankie 5 times that she thinks at least 85% of folks are going to be. And yeah, and it ain't over with. All this pandemic and all this stuff going on, it don't even make sense uh, that what's going on. It's almost like there are people intentionally doing this. I don't know. It just don't make sense. But you know what? You people here, that are fighting and that are trying to do something are going to be the first ones uh, in the door when it opens up. And if you're rolling with me, I'm gonna show you how to stall and make them have to spend some money. So that's what we're gonna be learning how to do. You're gonna be making them. They're not used to how we do things because we don't file stuff going to court waiting for the judge to rule. That's what they want you to do. That's not how we roll. We file stuff they don't want to rule about. They don't want to talk about. Yeah, that's what we're planning on doing, Frankie. 5 times. We want to blow it out of the water and let people start getting taking care of business. And that's what we're hoping, on the radio show, people are starting to see us. And I'm going to provide a couple of documents that the radio show can hand out to people so people can kind of see how I roll. Because most people have never met anybody like me or who does things like I do. Uh, Most people are too scared and they don't have the time to put in. But for me, the attorneys have forced me to learn this stuff. And so now I'm teaching other people how to use it against them. And I enjoy what I do. Frankie says she's ready. Well, I am going to get off of here and go to bed because I'm tired. Yeah, they rob our people by controlling the wealth and land, by controlling the land and wealth. You got to get that land in there first. Your dead grandpa wants up because that's the way they do it. Game and she's gonna run with it. All right, Frankie, that's what's up, and that's what you need to do. If you don't take it and run with it, I'm gonna blow the whistle and make you sit on the bench. Okay, that's the coach in me. The coach in me comes out sometime. Sometimes he gets me in trouble, but most of the time, I'm all right. I don't get in too much trouble. So I am going to try and be. Yeah, you gotta stand your ground. I had a guy tell me last night, yeah, I love it because you think outside the box. I'm like, what box? I don't use no box. And a lot of times people have a hard time with that because people are so used to worrying about they're gonna look stupid or worrying about, I'm like, okay, you're worried about you're gonna look stupid. You already do because they're stealing your shit and you haven't done nothing. People are worried about they're gonna look stupid. It's like people are worried about, it's like, dude. And that's what the attorneys want you to do. They want you to worry about looking stupid. So the court can't hold you to the same standard as a licensed attorney. Oh, wait, attorneys don't have no license. Yeah, I remember that. Well, don't worry about being too on time, Frankie, because sometimes I'm a little bit. No, I was going to try and start at 9 today, but I got to talking to people calling me on the phone, and then my phone conversations sometimes go a little bit long. So, but I'm not worried about it. We got to do what we got to do. So I'm looking forward to helping you get control of your situation. So you review those documents, at least the first document, not all of them, just the first one, the first. And then if you have any questions, um, just send me a text message or let me know. You're welcome, John. I'm glad I can help you guys. And I'll be streaming again on Monday. I'm going to try and set up Monday and Saturday to to stream, and then of course I'll be doing things in the week. But on those 2 days, I'll make sure that I'm here so people can kind of schedule it to have questions or whatever. More people invest in the program, then they can have ask the questions, and other people can see the questions and see the answers, and that kind of helps kind of level things off, so I don't have 2 million phone calls all at the same time. So good night, guys, and I will see you guys on Monday night.